All right. Oh, you know what? I forgot something. Better. That's better. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? All right. So I have to apologize. I am not feeling the best. So I'll do my best. I'll do my best. But it is what it is. I blame my kids. I blame my kids. It's their fault. They brought something home. Now I have to suffer. Now I have to suffer. So my throat is a little sore. So like I'm gonna speak a little bit softer, maybe a fewer words, and I'm gonna get a little less excited. But we'll try to get through this. It's good to see you all. How's everyone doing? I hope your week went well, and I hope this little bit of news brings you a glimmer of hope into the future of what could be. We are running ads right now, so then we should have the whole entire news section with no ads, which will be great. Yeah, so give us just a few minutes as that gets through the system. We have a bunch of really cool things coming up to talk about. So we have a few things coming out in AI that I think are really interesting that you guys probably want to get out. Get sorry, I am very sick. So I'm just going to apologize. It's going to be worse today than it normally is. And that's what you're going to have to deal with. That's what you're going to have to deal with. There are some big Docker changes in the pipeline. You're not going to want to miss. This is actually an update to the changes that they announced last year. And so we're going to go over that announcement and then what has changed. So there was some stuff that they were enforcing March 1st that some of it has been delayed, some of it has changed, and some of it is going to change that they just said. So we'll cover that. I'll be successful. Thank you. Hopefully I'll successfully make it through this without dying. That's going to be my goal. All right, we have on top of the Docker's news, we have some stuff around AIs. Pretty much one AI released something, so all of them decided that they needed to release their own thing as well. So I'm going to go over those. On top of that, there was actually two really interesting studies, both by the same place, that I want to discuss what those studies mean. They have some really interesting ramifications. And then there's actually a good little bit of open source news. And one thing that you're going to notice is this week, I'm not covering cloud, and one of the reasons was last night I could not stay up. I prepare all of this the night before, and last night I was just done. I was just done. So, anyways, let's we have 30 more seconds. We have 30 more seconds. How's everybody's week going? Any good plans for the weekend? Any good plans for the weekend? I'm hoping that it's just a head cold and I get over it by like tomorrow afternoon. Now, that being said, tomorrow's Rust stream. So we're going to build a Kubernetes operator in Rust if I feel up to it. If I don't, I will stream something, but it will just be something fun. Something fun with computers. So we'll see if I'm up to the Rust Kubernetes operator, because I might not, but I'll still stream something tomorrow morning, but we'll see what it is. All right, let's jump into the news. The first thing, we talked about the controversy in the Linux kernel, and some stuff has happened. First, Christopher Hellwig, which was the person who said he did not want to have Rust in the DRM mapping, has stepped down. He made a commit to step down as a maintainer of the DMA mapping. Now, I saw an email that scared the crap out of me. I don't know if you all see the same thing that I do. I have a very uncommon name. In fact, I don't know another one of me. Merrick has graciously offered to maintain the DMA mapping tree. I was like, did he hear my stream? Is that what? I am not good enough to maintain this. I am not. It's a different Merrick, a much more intelligent Merrick. So we're all safe. The Linux kernel is safe. No need to panic just yet. Your code is still safe. Yeah, congrats on becoming a maintainer. Oh gosh, I saw that and I was like, oh, I have literally never seen another Merrick, but they have a cooler last name, so they have a much cooler last name. So let's jump into security. The only thing that I saw this week was that, last week we saw Microsoft announce another stride in quantum computing. The week prior to that, we saw another company that made another different stride in quantum computing. And I feel like companies are actually going to start taking, in 2025, you're going to actually start seeing companies take quantum safe signatures for real. This is just another step in that. We can see that GCP has already taken the steps. Fortunately, post-quantum cryptography offers a way of mitigating these risks using existing hardware and software. Now, the thing I have to say is we don't have for sure know that these work 100% because, to be honest, we don't have a quantum thing that breaks our current cryptography. It's just been calculated that it is possible. So anyways, I expect we'll see more in the future. Now, along in security, something I wanted to talk about, something that's interesting. I don't know why I changed to this because we're still in security. Thousands of exposed GitHub repositories, now private, can still be accessed through Copilot. I think that this is actually a really interesting thing. And I always tell people this. This is why when you expose your SSH key or whatever your key is accidentally in Git, you rotate it. And the reason you rotate it is you don't know who's grabbed it. And in the era of AI, you can almost assume that an AI has grabbed your secret. Or in this case, if GitHub accidentally exposes thousands of your repositories, that AI has grabbed your code and your secrets. So in this day and era, I would say that it doesn't really change. You assume that somebody has gotten it. You have to make that assumption. And then you just move on. And you have to take anything that's exposed like that somebody downloaded it. Somebody saw it and grabbed it and downloaded it. And in the era of AI, most likely a computer did and trained on it. That was it for security for me. Did you guys see anything? Shallow take? Dude, I'm sick. So if you want more than just shallow takes, this is shallow take day, okay? I'm half high, half congested. Yeah, on medication. So shallow take day. Did you miss the Digicert drama? You're fighting it too, Scott? I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for the sub. No, I think I missed the Digicert drama. Are we talking about delaying the the re the they delayed revoking assert? They have done this a couple times. They've done this a couple of times. What was this reason for? By a temporary restraining order? All right, we'll talk about these at the end. We'll talk about these at the end. The Firefox one is interesting. Firefox one's interesting. So we'll talk about it. They sent a legal threat to a competitor who asked too many direct questions after screwing up their incident report many times. Oh, I need to look into the Digicert. Let me look into the Digicert. Maybe we'll cover it tomorrow. Like I said, I've been under the weather, so I have not been on top of as many things. So I missed the Digicert. And the Firefox is just a basically a canary, which is interesting. I did see that. I don't know what I need to say about it. We'll talk about it though at the end. Freeform. Let's jump into the AI news. Oh yeah, I'm super messed up. It's okay. I'm not. Like, I think it's just a head cold. It just sucks. I'm working today. It's not like it's not that bad. I wouldn't go into the office. If I was going into the office, I just wouldn't want to give it to somebody, but it's not that bad. It just makes me cranky. But a lot of things make me cranky, so. All right. February 24th, 2025. So times matter on this. Claude 3.7 is released. So Claude 3.6 never got released, but a lot of people think that a 3.5 update that was made to it kind of was referred to as 3.6. So I believe that's why they skipped on to 3.7. I've been testing it out in Cursor. So supposedly it does really, really, really well. So I've been playing around with it in Cursor. I might do a vibe stream where we test out if we can just vibe with it and get it to actually make something. I'm thinking the first iteration of the Null Cloud, we'll try it with 3.7 in Cursor. So we'll give it a test. But supposedly, with all of the release benchmarks, it's actually like quite a bit better than when they say the Sonnet new here, they mean the 3.6. That's kind of the thing here. Really, you want to look at this solid bar, not with the custom scaffold. That's cheating. If you're looking through it, they did some stuff to make it do better, which is cheating. Anyways, so they released this. Very interesting. So what happened was there was a whole chain reaction throughout the week. You have announcing the free unlimited access to Think Deep and Voice by the Copilot team. So now if you are a paying customer of Copilot, you get Voice and Think Deeper for free. And this came out February 25th. So you notice a day after. I can't believe that this was coincident. The day after that, or 2 days after that, where ChatGPT was kind of held. Look at this. 3.7 is just doing better. Just doing better. 3.7 is just doing better than anything that they have out there. They release a 4.5 after they said that they were really looking to get 5 out the door, and they were scrapping O3. They have said that they're not going to work really on O3 and 4.5 because they want to get 5 out the door and they want to focus on 5. All of a sudden, they release 4.5 just 4 days after that. And you can see the benchmarks here. Do you know what I found really funny with this announcement? Really humorously hilarious is they have O3 mini in their benchmark. So they have O3 in this. So it's in a research. You can give it a check if you have that. Now, Google was feeling a little left out. At this point, Google was feeling very, very left out. So they have released Gemini Code Assist now for free. So if you've wanted to see the subpar ability of a different AI competitor to make you really appreciate how good Copilot and Cursor are, you can now give Gemini a try to just be as thankful as you are. But this is actually really cool. If you haven't wanted to pay for one of the other ones, you can now try it for free. I was making some jokes about them, but you can give it a shot now for free, which is pretty cool. There's some limitations to Copilot for free. And there's some limitations to Cursor for free. So this is actually pretty good. And what I was going to say is that their free limits are actually pretty high they're the highest that I know of for the number of free invocations. So there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with this if you felt compelled. So that's the AI news as of releases. There was some other AI news that I wanted to talk about. That's a little bit different. Sergeant Pepper, how are you doing? Google feeling left out as somebody canceled a product. Oh gosh. Okay. So the first thing in AI general news, there's 3 papers, 2 that I have access to, 2 that I've seen other people's comments on. So do LLMs write like humans? Variation in grammatical and rhetorical styles. Basically, this comes out that AIs don't write like humans do because they write to statistical norms. So if you ask an AI to talk like a pirate, they will talk statistically like a pirate should. So whenever they write, they take a voice of whatever the statistic, which all makes sense. All of this makes sense. You didn't need to do a study on it. This is what they do. But that's what the study came out and found was that they statistically use certain words and whatnot. Whereas when a human writes, they take on their own voice and their own writing voice and their own writing style instead of the statistical average. They also use different words, I'm guessing because of what they were trained on, and different linguistic styles. So anyways, this wasn't a huge surprise that it's actually pretty easy to detect if AI wrote something because of how it sounds. But moving on, you get things like this. OpenAI's progress in coding accelerates projections of economic upheavals. This was partially the articles from like this are partially pointing towards this, a competitive programming with large reasoning models. Now, if you know my takes on competitive programming is not real programming. I mean, don't get me wrong, they write real programming and these people are amazingly smart, but they're not actually solving problems like the real world generally has to solve. So anyways, you can take this and they took O3 and O1 and they did some benchmarks on Code Forces, which is a competitive programming. I'm gonna say benchmark. It's not really a benchmark, but anyways, and they did some fine tuning, which again is half cheating for this, and did some remarkably good benchmarking. If you look here, yeah, in the top 200, above the top 1% in Code Forces, their rating is what they got. And so this right here is what a lot of places that are referencing OpenAI's progress in coding accelerates projection of economic upheaval. But I think that this is a very, very narrow take, because if you notice the release date of this, when this was published, right here, if you like reading sideways, the 18th of February. If you take this, which was the 24th of February, by OpenAI, okay, so it's the same group wrote both of these. What you'll notice is that it didn't perform nearly as well as a software engineer. So what this did was actually go out and basically try to solve problems that people got paid for. So they went to what's the website? Upwork. They went to Upwork and tried to find freelance software jobs that have been solved and did it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not feeling well. I'm just taking a little bit of. Give me a second. All right. So they found bug fixes that range from $50 to $32,000 for feature implementations, managerial tasks, and other things on Upwork, and had the AIs do this. And this is where I'll point out, if you look at this one and read this in look at this in isolation, this looks like we're all absolutely doomed. But there's two things about these. These are very, very, very well scoped problems, extremely well scoped problems with test data that you can cycle and stuff on, and a lot of that type of stuff. They're super well scoped. And the other thing that they are is they're very much isolated. They have a very specific thing. In fact, they posted all the code. Most of these are solved in a single function. So these are the things. This is basically a single function that solves it. So most of the things that you can go look through it are solved in a single function. The other thing, and they call this out, is that these problems that are solved on here aren't completely distinct and unique because they're used in competitive programming. So they're kind of mathematical formula. All right, so this tries to do and sees how well-rounded the AIs are. And the thing is, they weren't very good. Basically, if you go look at this, they were at best solving 25% of the things that were done. And this had future or further issues because of two things. One, all the tickets that were selected were actually highly picked for being very well scoped and solved very well already previously. So that means they left out a lot of ones that people were solving that just weren't as well scoped, weren't as well documented, and things like that. So they were only taking on a very highly selective. The other problem is all of these were taken from an open source repository. All of the jobs that were taken were for, what was the open source repository? I forget the name of it. Uh, so it was all through Upwork, but it was for a specific company that has an open source. They do all of their stuff through, what is it? Anyways, it's a big front end. It's a big front end code base that's open source. And so another problem with this is the solutions could have been trained on, because it was from 2022 to 2024. So the end of the end, and I've wanted to do like a little essay on this, and maybe I'll make it a little bit of an essay, is if you take any one of these things for point blank, you can get to where you make a news line like this. And I want to be a little bit different of news. I don't want to just point out the things that support my idea or that will point you guys to, being the most sensationalist headline or whatnot, because I find it to be really disingenuous. I want to try my best to report the whole story as I see it. There's conflating things. This is actually really awesome. This is really cool. I am not even close to the top 1%. These problems are difficult. I'm not on this chart. See, this is top 1% worldwide. I am way down here. I'm like down here somewhere. So this is like really cool that it did this well. And I want to celebrate that. But I want to celebrate it in understanding what it means. And I want to do that with you guys as well. So that's kind of my take. I wanted to show you guys that because I saw headlines like this. And I wanted to kind of give you guys an even take on it. An even take. Anyways, the software engineering Lancer benchmark is open source here for you all. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that out here. And you guys can give it a check if you like. So anyways, that's kind of what happened in AI. One thing that I noticed, and Salesforce did release its earning report. And they've done a whole lot of this. I'll go ahead. I'm not sure how good this is, but Salesforce basically had an earnings per share of 2.78 versus the 2.61, but the revenue was down from expectations. So they had 9.99 billion, which was about 10.04 billion expected, and their stocks were hurting just a little bit because of this. I wanted to point out that adjusted actually removes stuff like restructuring. So all of the fees and severances that they pay or paid out are removed from that. So you can dig around to find out like the real earnings by share. And what this tries to do, what this adjusted tries to do is say, hey, look, these one-time things like restructuring fees, which, they only had $500 million in restructuring fees. I believe that's in this chart here, right? Let's see. I thought I had it. I must have accidentally scrolled. They have restructuring in here broken down. Anyways, it was about $500 million in restructuring fees. Because you want to look at what the adjusted tries to point you to is how good the core company is doing. And those are kind of one-time fees, one-time things that have to happen. You could also adjust it if you bought a building or something like that with one-time fees. Anyways, that's what this means here, and why the adjusted could be higher while the revenue is still lower than expected. Haven't missed the Docker changes just yet. We're almost to them. Anyways, so what I wanted to point out was that one of the weaknesses here was their AI agent support. They actually tout very much that they had 300,000 conversations with their AI agents. 380,000 conversations, achieving a 84% resolution rate with only 2% of the requests receiving human escalation. I'm actually really interested in this because there is really 86% of these that actually closed. What happened to the other 14%? 84 were resolved using Agentforce and 2% were human escalated. Where did the other 14 go? I wish I was on this investor call, because that's where what is the other 14%? Did they just go into the ether? Did people just get so frustrated with Agentforce that they just left? That's what I'm assuming. It's just people that left the conversation. I don't know. Again, just do not know. It's a little bit of a void. So anyways, I'm going to continue to watch their earnings and see how it goes. I'm sure the laying people off helped with that adjusted, but it didn't help their revenue. Their revenue was a miss. So yeah. Anyways, that was mostly it for AI. Maybe the 14 are still chatting in an infinite loop. Dude, I don't know about the other 14%. Literally, I wanted to know, what about the other 14%? All right, let's talk about the Docker. There was September 12th, 2024. A monumentous announcement. There was this announcing upgraded Docker plan. Anyway, before I go on that, I'm sorry, I'm a little medicated and whatnot, but I wanted to cover that because I want to keep you guys up to date on the news. And I know that we're following some of these companies that say, hey, we have AIs and we're getting rid of engineers because of it, and we want to see how they do. And some of it's hard. We almost need to know their DORA metrics, right? We want to see how fast they're releasing features and things like that, and see if it's actually increased, even though that they've decreased the number of people. So there's quite a few things like that that are impossible for me to know. But what I am going to try to do with these news sections is to watch those public figures that we can see and see how they're doing. Their revenue was down. They missed their numbers, their expected numbers. With big companies like this, you can get pretty good, which means something was off at the base. Even though their adjusted revenue per share was pretty high, they had a lot of write-offs that they took off of that. So anyways, I'm just trying to do a little bit better job of following up on some of those things for you all when they're hitting. Some of the larger companies, they actually break out AI. That was one of the things. I read through all of Salesforce stuff to see if they actually put how much revenue they made off of Agentforce, which they didn't break that off into its own thing. So I don't know. But Azure, AWS do. And so I'm going to be reporting on those things for you all. All right. Big news. Upgraded Docker plans, simpler, more value, better development, and productivity. This was on September 12th, 2024. So old news. We talked about this. We talked about the changes that they were going into effect. Starts March 1st. All right. But it was all a lie. February 21st, 2025, revisiting Docker Hub policies, prioritizing developer experience. I think this was due to a lot of kickback, but there's a couple big changes that are happening. The first that I want to point out is the unlimited pull rates for paid user, as announced early, starts on April 1st. All paid Docker subscribers will have unlimited image pulls with fair use limits to ensure seamless experience. one of the big changes is no more pool count limits or consumption charges. We're canceling pool consumption charges entirely. Our focus is on making Docker Hub the best place for developers to build, share, and collaborate, ensuring teams can scale with confidence. So this is a really good one. This was a confusing charge. It was going to be difficult. I think this is a hugely good, more gooder. This is a more gooder change. Sorry. I'm on medication. I'll blame that. It's a more gooder change. So happy to see that. They're updating the limits for free and unauthenticated users. So this was upped. Free authenticated users get 100 pulls per hour, which it was just 10, like the unauthenticated. So I believe this was doubled. And then this is another big one, was the storage changes delayed indefinitely. So basically there was storage-based billing that they were going to do for storing images, and they've kind of put that on hold. So we'll see. They say it's delayed indefinitely. They didn't say that they won't do it. They're just saying not right now. And they say if and when they're going to introduce it, there'll be another 6-month notice. So stay tuned. Check in the news if you're wanting to stay up to date on that. Absolutely, Russell. That's why I want to not just announce the news. I want to give you guys a hopefully well-rounded take on the news, with bringing historical events that have happened, not just the sensationalized headlines that we tend to see on the news. That's why, I brought in 2 different studies and how they show a different aspect of both sides, where one's really cool and it's awesome that they achieved that, but the other kind of mellows it out and says, well, yes, it does this hyper-focus thing really well. The broader engineering scope, it did fairly poorly on. And so anyways, I'm trying to do that for you all. And then also, like, okay, Salesforce said this. Let's hold them accountable to it. Let's track what they're doing to the best of my ability and see how well they do with it. Because honestly, that's the best that we can do. We can take them for their word, or we could actually try and see, because most likely they overhired. And I'm sure that they got rid of some people in their support staff. When they said that they were letting go of 1,000 people, they didn't just say engineers. They said, it was across the company. And I know for a fact that some of that was in their support staff. And I'm sure that Agentforce on their website is handling a lot of those things. So it might be really, really valuable in that, but we'll have to see. All right. We have some open source news to talk about. And then we can talk after the open source news. We can talk about the Firefox drama, the DigiCert drama, and the meta drama. The meta drama is very meta. All right, let's get into the open source news. Obsidian is now free for work. So originally it used to be that Obsidian was only free to use if you were an individual, but if there was more than 2 of you, you had to pay for it. And the thing with Obsidian is there's this sync feature, which allows you to sync. It's basically cloud storage for your devices. And so there's sync and publish. But there used to be this commercial per user per year, $50, fairly cheap for a commercial plan. But this used to be required because Obsidian stores stuff as markdown files and whatnot. Anyways, it was confusing. They've removed it. So now Obsidian, if you want to use it with a Git repository with work for free without paying, it is not required anymore. Starting today, the Obsidian commercial license is optional. Anyone can use Obsidian for work or for free. If Obsidian benefits your organization, you can still purchase a commercial license to support development. I believe with the commercial license, you also get the sync included in that. I don't know for a fact, but yeah. So nothing else is changing. No account required. I have really liked Obsidian. There's other note-taking things out there, but if you wanted to give Obsidian a try, I do actually really like Obsidian. So this was really cool. Eco's new product in that sector with better features has been launched. Possibly. Absolutely. Has there been? I don't know what it was. What was it? If you're saying that as like one was launched, please let me know, because I want to try it if it's good. Oh, you're speculating. Okay. But I do like Obsidian, so this was a cool change. You're on LogSec and you like it. You've said LogSec. I haven't given it a shot yet. I haven't given it a shot yet, but I might give it a shot at one point. I've really liked Obsidian at this point, but yeah. KiCad 9 was released. So if you're ever interested in EDA stuff, making your own circuit boards, which I have dabbled with on and off, more off than on, but they've released 9.0, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool that that's an open source thing. Another thing is the DX compiler release for February 2025. So DirectX shaders, the shader compiler, Windows keeps adding to this, which is actually pretty cool, because if there was one thing that Windows did right, if there was one thing that I wanted to point to, DirectX is maybe that thing. DirectX is actually really awesome. So anyways, the big thing here that they open source, which I absolutely am super interested in, is the validator hash is now open source, which is pretty cool. This is actually pretty cool. I'm very excited about this here. So anyways, it's really cool. Oh, kudos. We can move on. Nobody else cares. I do. Okay. So something you might care about is Cloud Native PG. Cloud Native PG is a comprehensive platform designed to seamlessly manage PostgreSQL databases within Kubernetes environments. So this made it to the CNCF incubating. And so if you're running to run Postgres databases within Kubernetes, was this week the week of databases in Kubernetes? I just put it together. I just put this together myself. Maybe it was. So this is really cool. I haven't used it, but if you're running Postgres and you're in Kubernetes, maybe you give it a check. It's a Apache 2 license, so it's solid. It's relatively new. It's on version 1.25. Like it's not like super new, but like it's relatively young. I think it's like a year old in total. Just accepted in an incubating stage. It looks cool. Yeah, Dutch. It is cool to see this. I'm very excited about it. So anyways, it's out there. It exists. Go give it here's the link. There you go. All right. The next one that comes in is this. Kubeskate. Kubeskate is an open source. This is not the one that I wanted to talk about. This one. Let's see, this one. Kublocks. My bad. We'll talk about Kubeskate in a second. Kublocks. Welcome to the Kublocks project. If you've ever developed using multiple types of databases in your application and are considering deploying both your application and database on Kubernetes for cost or efficiency reasons, okay, can we stop here? Wait, where was I? I completely lost where I was reading. Okay. I completely lost where I was reading. Oh, here we go. If you are considering deploying both your application and database on K8s for cost or efficiency reasons, do not deploy on Kubernetes for cost or efficiency reasons. Don't do this. This is an anti-pattern. This isn't an anti-pattern. This is a void pattern. This is a null pattern. This is this is not a pattern. This is, what is it? Don't do this. That's my personal opinion. I'm happy to talk to you about it. Let's get past this. Okay, now, I still think that this is a cool project. Okay, I got hung up on that. I didn't read that in the first place. But Kubeblocks is also becoming an incubating project with the CNCF. And it's kind of it kind of took off where Rook, I don't know if you guys remember Rook. Rook was supposed to be this operator that did all your databases. And then it kind of only did one database well. I think it was Postgres. And I think it kind of fell off. And this is basically supposed to be all your databases as a control plane. So a control plane for databases. So Kubeblocks uses a unified set of APIs and code to manage various databases on Kubernetes. For example, you can use cluster resource to create a Postgres cluster, a Redis cluster, and a Kafka cluster. The abstraction and unified API allows us to further use a single set of operator code to manage multiple types. So Kubeblocks allows you to run a bunch of different databases. And supposedly allows for day 2 operations. Day 2 operations. So day 1 operations is like creating the thing and installing it and getting it going. Day 2 is like, how do I update my database? How do I migrate it? How do I scale it? How do I do all of those types? So those are day 2. So supposedly it also manages various day 2 operations for MySQL, Postgres, Redis, Mongo, Kafka, and Pulsar, as well as these vector databases. And these warehouses. Which is cool. It looks like it's you're able to add on different things by writing a Kubeblock add-on. So it looks really cool. I have never seen this. And so like it looks pretty cool. And so I wanted to let you guys know. If you guys see a Umkill Rook was one of your direct competitors. Oh, cool. If you guys see an open source project that you think is cool and should be shared, let me know. I have a whole section on the open source on the news to talk about cool projects that I see and share. It doesn't need to be Kubernetes related. I know today was mostly Kubernetes related, but the whole idea is just to share cool projects that are out there if you see them. So please let me know, because it shouldn't just be limited to the databases or the things that I see and are interested in. Let's share some cool projects. The other one that I saw was Kubescape, which is also CNCF incubating. I actually found, I didn't realize, I think this has been updated, but if you go to the landscape.cncf.io, which is really cool, it has this whole thing, landscape there. It actually tells you when it went sandbox to incubating and graduated, which is really cool. I didn't realize it did this. I don't think it used to, but I love this because, well, one, I can see like when it started, when it was in sandbox, and that it's had history of getting better. So Kubescape is a security thing for your Kubernetes cluster with active scannings that tries to put in the CISA and MITRE attacks, as well as the CIS, and protect against those. So it's a pretty cool project. It hit incubating this month, which was pretty cool. So congratulations to them. Nah, I didn't put HashiCorp. The purchase just went through. I mean, like, I don't know. Do we want to talk about that? We can talk about that. You mentioned it Saturday, but Rust Owl seems like a nice open source project for visualizing lifetimes. I might have missed it. I'm sorry. I don't remember it. Visualize ownership and lifetimes in Rust for debugging and optimizations. This looks super cool. This looks super cool. I need more colors when editing because that's, yeah. Oh, I see. Does it have a, yeah, it has NeoVim. Cool, cool. Okay. I'm going to add this. That looks cool. Yeah, VS Code, you know, I also didn't cover that because that's happened before. It's old news. There was the VS Code hacks from a theme. So like we could cover this, but like the themes and the plugins, I have always said if you're downloading and installing stuff, you need to make sure you know what you're installing. Like this is just Internet 101, people. Like Internet 101. Know what you're installing. Don't just download and install and run stuff from random people. Why do you think I just use the default theme on a lot of stuff? I say that. I'm not so good about it with NeoVim. I run a lot of Lua. I have no idea. It's just what the Kickstart people said. I probably need to be better about that. But it's a Kickstart package. I know those people. I don't know. We'll see. Half the people that use VS Code these days don't live during LimeWire. Yeah, good point. All right. So Firefox had a canary moment with this. So if people aren't familiar, a lot of times canaries are used as like, I can't say if the NSA requested something, but what I can say is I've never been, I can put a canary banner that I can remove. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just removing a banner. Well, I feel like that kind of happened with Firefox here. Now, the problem is there's a lot of speculation of what this means. And I don't know is the answer. I don't know what that speculation is. There was this pull request here that requested that removed this question. Does Firefox sell your personal data? Nope, never have, never will, and will protect you from many advertisers who do. Firefox products are designed to protect you from privacy. That's a promise. Now, this doesn't say we will sell your data. These are why we can't have nice things. Okay, so we can go read through those, but it doesn't say that they will. It's just removing that they don't. Now, like I said, there's a lot more that goes into this. There's a lot of speculation. A lot of people in this are just assuming that is. I think that we need to wait for an official response from Mozilla, which I expect to have an official response on Mozilla. This is not the only place where they say this. And so we need to see and wait a little bit. I think it's good to call them out here. I have nothing wrong with this. They deserve to be called out for doing something so blatant without warning the community. But we'll see. Standard GitHub comments. Yeah. This is pretty the standard GitHub comment. Yep. Thank you. That was an effective PR. Why we can't have nice things. I don't know. I honestly don't. Like I said, they didn't say that they were going to. They just took this off from their docs. What does it mean? We'll see. Oh, this was also interesting. This ad, not the ad. Meta defends using pirated material, claims it's legal if you don't seed the content. Going back to the people who didn't grow up during the LimeWire era, people who didn't grow up in my time frame, basically Meta said we didn't seed any of the pirated material. We didn't. Sure, we stole the pirated content. We took it, but we didn't share. We took extra precautions. Literally, their whole argument was going through all of the precautions they took to ensure they didn't seed any downloaded files. If you want to be mad at somebody, go be mad at all of the AI companies who are skirting every single rule they possibly can and will literally say if AI would be impossible if we followed the laws. That's what Meta's, or not Meta's, that was OpenAI's. They said that AI would be impossible as it was if they didn't do what they did. Meta isn't any better, but yeah. So Dutch, the question now becomes, if you trained on it, did you just seed? So if your llama thing will build content based off of those books and those ideas, is that seeding? Is that distributing those ideas? You changed how you download, how you get it. I honestly think this is a hard problem to solve. I'm not sitting here saying that I have the answers to it. I tend to think that if you train something on it, you're seeding that AI with that information. And the content creators should be paid for that. Yeah, Dutch. That's what I'm saying. You're training on pirate data and then distributing that training data to everybody else. So I think you're distributing still. That would be my argument. I still think that it's a hard one for the laws need to be updated to cover specifically because I don't think that we cover that well, but it's still a difficult thing. I don't envy people fighting that battle right now. All right, I don't know much about this Sectigo thing, so let's read that really quickly, and then I got to get to work. My lunch break is almost over. What is this? DigiCert, threat of legal action to stifle Bugzilla discourse. We have not used a legal team as a shield against accountability. Contrary to this statement, I received a letter from DigiCert's lawyer regarding posts made by Sectigo's chief compliance officer. The upshot of the letter was that DigiCert expected Sectigo to ensure that Mr. Collins statements do not continue and will not be repeated by any other member of the Sectigo organization. I'm Brian Holland, the general counsel for Sectigo, and this is my first time posting on Bugzilla. I'm posting because at Sectigo, we believe that the web PKI is best served by open, transparent, and honest debate about issues that impact our community. Attempts to shut down these conversations through lawyers or otherwise are harmful to our collective core mission. In this opening passage, this letter reads, "We ask for your prompt cooperation and assistance in taking corrective action and forcing Mr. Collin to cease his disparaging public statements. We hope your assistance in this matter will render any unnecessary legal action by DigiCert against Sectigo." After 3 pages of detail about specific Bugzilla posts and references to Lanham Act, deceptive trade practices, corporate disparagement. Oh my goodness. This is not the state of mind I need to be in. The full letter is in English, and the bug report goes on to say, emphasis mine. At this point, we're bringing the situation to your attention on behalf of DigiCert because we're hopeful that Mr. Kellen's actions were the actions of one individual, not part of an organized plan or institutional practice. Okay, there's a lot. So what this person, Brian Holland, is stating, and I'll have to go dig through these, and I'm not taking a stance on this. Brian Holland is saying that DigiCert is using lawyers to stifle discourse on security best practices and discussions. No cert authority should be allowed to intimidate its critics into silence. This would imperially damage the integrity and quality of the web PKI. I am starting this incident to bring attention to DigiCert's action and allow the community to evaluate this approach. What began as a discussion of the threat posed by certificate subscribers using the legal system to circumvent web PKI security controls needs, in my opinion, to be. So was this all started because they had like that one restraining order that kept them from stopping the revoking a cert? I'm gonna have to dig into this more. They attached the actual. Now, this is interesting, and I don't know that much about the law. Now, there's libel, where you write knownly false accusations, but to specifically call out things you think is wrong isn't libel because you think those things are wrong. There's this practice. I think, you could say that I think shaving cats is wrong. And maybe DigiCert, I don't know. I'm just making up a stupid thing. You could say like punching holes in leaves is wrong. Like maybe that's a less. All right, and DigiCert believes in punching holes in leaves and like whatever. That's fine. You can have those disagreements. What would be illegal in libel is that you wrote that I know DigiCert does this, and you're specifically lying. You don't know. The funny thing is, they're not claiming libel here. They're talking about disparage and harm, but they're kind of skirting the word libel, right? because they're saying that they're purposefully false, misleading, and characterizing DigiCert's terms. That's interesting. I'm sure that they have a legal reason why they're doing this way. But I don't know why they wouldn't just come out and make the statement. Like, they're effectively saying what libel is without saying he's committing libel. I got to dig more into it, but that's interesting. As he say, DigiCert definitely shaves cats. Like, that's how. So if you guys don't know, okay, I got to show you guys this because obviously you're uneducated on the way certs are made. The way certs are made is very, very interesting. So I'll have to educate you guys, and then I got to get to some real work. All right. The way certs are made is you have cats. I know. I should go to school to be an artist. I don't even need to go to school. Basically, I don't even need to go to school, right? That's something we can all agree on. I don't need to go to school. All right. So there's it looks like a beefy arm on the back. Anyways, this is a tail. The way certs are made. It's kind of like how assassination orders are made, is that there's this loom that weaves in a very, very specific pattern that's a code that this loom prints out. And it keeps the order of the world. It makes sure that certain people are assassinated that are going to be bad for the world. So what they do is they come in and they find a random cat and they shave a square off of it right here, just right on the side. It needs to be a nice contiguous patch, because what they do then is they take that, and each hair in that shaved square becomes a digit in the private key. That's how we get random digit keys. I know that you guys think that, like, I don't know, Cloudflare solved this with lava lamps, but really it's not lava lamps. It's cats. It's cats. All right. You're welcome. The lava lamps are there just to keep the cats entertained. That's exactly right. The way we get randomness is by shaving cats. Anyways, now I have to go and do real work and then live this down when somebody brings this up at some point in the future. Hopefully nobody I work with or ever will work with in the future ever watches that segment. And please do not believe that I was being real in any way. If I was, I would have gotten a better drawing of the cat. The cats are a good random number generator. Okay. Anyways, have a fantastic weekend. I will see you guys tomorrow. If I'm feeling up to it, we're doing the Rust operator. If I'm not feeling up to it, we'll do something, but very chill. Very chill. We'll see. Hopefully I'll be mostly over this. Anyways, it was fantastic seeing you all. Thanks for joining me with the news. Please help me make it better. Give me your critical feedback on how I could make it better. Sorry, I missed the DigiCert drama. I will read up on it and we'll talk more about it either tomorrow or the next week. I really did miss that. Sorry about that. Please bring stuff up like this in the news segment in the Discord if you can. I would love it if you guys brought stuff to my attention. Some of you do. We didn't cover it. One thing was the Y Combinator post. I didn't talk about it I didn't talk about this because it was a stupid demo. This demo was so stupid. Y Combinator deleted this video, but the demo itself was dumb. Why? They were like, oh, number 17 is the bottleneck. How do they know? All of them are red. It's a dumb demo of software that's not even working. It's a dumb demo of software that's not even doing a thing. because they called out 17 when all of them are red. All of them have red arrows. 17's the only one that has a video above it before he highlights it. Like he's like, oh, I see. But see here, 17 is just the one that has the video, but like they're all red. There's nothing that says that this is bottleneck. If you actually look at the metrics here, which I'm sure you can't see in your encoding because it's a low quality, red means that they're less than 70% of their efficiency, less than 70%. There was so many people are like, oh, this is sweatshops. Look, sweatshops exist whether you like it or not, and unless you buy the Null attire, which is all American or European made, you're going to get clothing that is in sweatshops, period. Now, whether you like them or not, those exist. But the real thing was this demo was just garbage. And nobody talked about it. Anyways, I need to go. I need to go and I need to stop ranting. Thank you for giving me new things to talk about. Leave them into the Discord a day before. And I will see you guys